it feels very disturbing. I'm not sure. So out of all their marketing, this just seems like a kind of catch all. Like I kind of get it. It's like putting your coin up, but it's a really weird way of doing it. I'm not sure who the target audience of this was for, because it wasn't for, at least it wasn't for me. And I like Tekken stuff.
Yeah.
Usually. This is weird. Everybody's like, you could have used grid. You could have just used chain shift. You could have just done. I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to make sure I could do my B&B that I just learned 4 hours ago for 2 hours. All right. Grandiose event as always. I truly think that they know how to put on an event for anime fighting game players as well as those who aren't competing for anime games. There's so much, and it's 24-hour venue. Yeah, dude.
Welcome back to you, man. You've been flying around places and frosty places, huh?
Oh, absolutely. But of course, we're finally here. Another episode. Today, of course, today is January 29th, and we are, of course, doing episode 358. We're getting ever so close to 400. Just counting the days, the weeks before we get there. But of course, we're not going to have Crash Tag this week with us. He's, of course, handling some business, and he'll, of course, be back next week. But guys, thank you, of course, for tuning in as always. And we're just going to kind of get a little bit straight into it. But first, I do want to talk about how we did post a question of the week and poll last week. Unfortunately, we didn't put the poll up on Discord or in the question of the week on Discord as well, or Twitter, but we're going to be doing that this week, so you guys can get a chance to, get your chance to answer, is Tekken 8 going to be your first Tekken game as a poll? And of course, the question of the week was, what would you put in your course for a fighting game curriculum? If you guys remember that from last week, we're going to extend that a little bit further so that you can give us further insight. But we were able to, at least on Spotify, put up the poll, is Tekken 8 going to be your first Tekken game? And we got a 50-50% split. So interesting. Kind of curious to see how many more people are really feeling it now that they're playing it, and they were like, oh, maybe I should have. So yeah, it's something to look forward to, guys. Something to definitely put in your arsenal of things to answer. But nonetheless, we're going to jump into our first topic, being Tekken 8.
Oh, it is the hot item right now, I feel. So for me, I first want to touch on the marketing aspect of the game. Did you see the drones footage?
Yes.
Even if it was even real or not over London?
I didn't care. It could have been fake. And I was like, this is great advertisement. When are we getting it for the US?
Right, I know. Well, I've been to Tennessee and Dollywood. They have like Christmas shows and drones, but this was much more elaborate. I mean, I didn't expect it at all. But I feel like they've been doing some more like they sort of like what Street Fighter did with their marketing, where they're just trying to do a bit more mainstream. I don't know if you saw the trailer. I think we talked before the show. There was a story mode trailer that they did with the actor Brian Cox.
Well, before that, yes. Remember when they did the Tekken 8 marketing over London Bridge, they literally had the two characters. Well, I guess it was Jin and Kazuya, and they were kind of like little dots lit up. And as they punch and they usually do the clash with the lightning, it would come out and turn into Tekken 8 out now over the bridge, which I thought was like, when the hell do you even time that? When is the highest flow of people for you to actually perfect this, where people are like, yo, did you see that? And someone actually gets a full clean video. So, and I wonder how long it ran for too.
I mean, in essence, it's the slowdown. It's the slowdown from the actual game that happens at the end of a round. So I mean, that's what I thought was cool. Or it could be the Bandai Namco intro, So
I think it's interesting because it's like you have Harada saying to people like, don't ask me for shit, but then we didn't ask for this, but it's like, should we have asked for it?
Right.
I like it. I'll ask for it next time. We probably won't get it.
I think it is the one I just mentioned. It's supposed to be the Jin Kazuya Bandai Namco intro. And I say that because you see the whole jacket, Kazuya's jacket, and I guess that's Jin in his white jacket.
Yeah, they probably just had to do that for the coloring scheme, but it's still nice. Yeah. I think it's something we don't get enough of when it comes to promotion for fighting games. So I think that at least for Tekken, they've outdone themselves again, which they are set. We have Capcom who set the bar really high for that payout, but Tekken 8 is setting a bar that's really high for, in my personal opinion, for promotion and marketing wise. Like, they're going above and beyond, which most companies haven't done enough of. And this is a high scale, and I know that Tekken's pretty big in Europe, so that's pretty cool. That, or even the UK, just that general area. I think it's really cool that they're taking it to that level to give back to the players and see something pretty cool that might be once in a lifetime. We may never see this again.
Well, I believe they had the previous years they had a Tekken World Tour out there in London. However, going back to the other marketing things we've seen the Brian Cox video where he's narrating the story mode or just story between the Mishimas, and it's just pretty funny because it's sort of like Brian Cox is there and he's an actor. I know him more for if you've ever watched X-Men or Troy or a couple other movies he's been in, well-known actor, even Born Identity, I think it was. He's just narrating how it's going, whether he's saying it right or wrong. I don't know. Like, it's still just pretty cool that it's just what is it? It's a way to travel through time in between from the previous games to now to see who's fallen off a cliff. Who's been thrown off a cliff.
Is it weird? I always mix him and Pierce Bronson up. It's like Pierce Bronson's getting that white hair now, and he's looks like a younger version of him.
You mean 007?
Yeah.
Oh, 007. That's a stark difference for me, but sure, no, it's totally weird.
You saw him in not Shazam. What's the movie with The Rock? I hated it.
Oh yes,
Black Adam. There we go. Pierce Bronson looks exactly like a younger Brian Cox. He's getting that white hair, the beard. He looks like it does, but
I don't know. But he does have a pretty good voice. They could have gotten maybe Morgan Freeman to do. No, I'm kidding. Just any narration. But no, it's definitely an interesting pick. I would have never thought let's get the striker, the former striker from X2 to do this. So, but yeah, it's just one of the examples of the pretty good just marketing campaign. Sort of if you're having trouble with the story that nobody really pays attention to, here you go, more Jin and Kazuya story for you. Also, there was another video that was just there. It sort of felt like the fatality video from that Mortal Kombat put out, which was, I think it was get ready for the next battle. And it started with the UFC, and then everybody in the arena just starts to put their heads together and nose to nose and start to want to fight. It was the most odd trailer I've ever seen, but it was kind of funny. You saw some bigger names. You even see Arslan Ash show up in part of the video, and it's just. But I don't get it. Do people do that in Tekken? I don't know.
No!
I play Tekken, but nobody does that, right? Okay, great.
It feels very disturbing. I'm not sure. So, out of all their marketing, this just seems like a kind of catch-all. Let's try to get even the biggest people will want to be in the fight, and the littlest person will want to be in the fight. I kind of get it. It's like putting your coin up, but it's a really weird way of doing it. I don't know, man. It's kind of awkward. I guess it's fighting for humanity. I don't know. It's really just a weird concept of a video, and I'm not sure who the target audience of this was for.
There he is.
Because it wasn't it wasn't for me, and I like Tekken stuff.
Yeah.
Usually. This is weird.
Yeah, so like I said, the one for Mortal Kombat years past was who finished him, and everybody's finishing each other, and so that's the only story bit in the whole trailer was the dude took the food, and the lady who cooked the food is sitting there behind him I'm still gonna make you pay for that meal. But if you saw that commercial for the first time, you would never have guessed it was for Tekken.
That's like when they do the Ford commercials where they're you swimming in the water, you're fishing for the sea, and then next thing you know, Ford. You're like, what?
Yeah,
exactly. That's how I definitely agree.
But I'll tell you what, I personally would like to bring all this up because for some reason that didn't sell the game for me. I'll tell you what sold the game for me. I wasn't gonna really get into it. I played it on Thursday at the local, entered the tournament. It came out Thursday. I entered the tournament. We played, blah blah blah, and I was like, man, this really feels kind of good. And then that night I went to sleep. I was like, man, I really want to explore the character I was just playing. Well, and I wrote down the status, and I played Uni that night as well. And I was like, I played Uni and Tekken today. I want to play Uni and Tekken tomorrow. So that's exactly how it felt. And Friday I got Uni or Saturday, and Tekken I got on Sunday. So like, for me, the best marketing is just plugging in the game and giving it a shot and seeing how it feels. And I got them both. I'm liking it so far. I'm learning Jun, and Asusena is going to be the next person I'm learning. So I'm enjoying it. I just want to hopefully, I've been getting into this groove of learning a new character and enjoying a game again just by learning a new character over and over again. So that's where I'm at right now with Tekken.
Yeah, I feel like, because I kind of did the same thing this weekend as you, where I was like, oh, do I want to buy the game yet? Plus, I was leaving for the weekend, which we'll get more into that in a bit. But before that, Tekken definitely, to me, has always been interesting. I played a lot of the demo. I really like Nina. I think she's cool as hell. You could see the differences with just the character style, but to the movement and everything. It's just one of those things where you're trying to figure out, is this worth the investment? Because now games have gotten a little bit more expensive. We're talking about playing legacy games, including Uni 2, even though it doesn't seem like it's a legacy game. It's had many iterations of itself. So we're talking about playing two core, legacy games that if you invest, are you leaving whatever game you're playing? Are you investing into learning all the previous stuff, even if it doesn't seem like you might need to? I don't know. I'm kind of still mixed. I like both games, but I think Tekken 8 has this very new player appeal and intermediate level appeal where you want to get into it, but you're unsure. And I think that with some of the stuff that I'll kind of give informational wise, it'll be able to help a lot of people make that decision a little bit better, at least when it comes to picking up a new game, and especially a legacy. I know I said legacy a lot, but that's kind of what this whole saga of this year has been. Drop more legacy games, right? Since the 2023, well, I guess a little bit mid of 2023 to now 2024, where we haven't really seen any new games other than, none. It's Tekken, Uni, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. What games dropped in between that was Grand Blue? All have history and legacy at this point. So I definitely think it's something we're gonna have to keep in mind moving forward.
Idol Showdown. Let me stop. Okay. All right. No, don't make that face. No, but I do. So, all right, I just had the thought process. It always happens, man. This is the first one where I'm actually like not playing it just because also Eddie's not in the game, so I have to learn a new character. And now I'm actually like, I actually teched the throw today. Could you believe that? Like,
teching throws.
I never tech a throw, but somebody was throwing so much. I'm like, I have to try it. And then yesterday I parried a low, and I was like, oh my god, it actually works. Like it never worked for me. So if I'm getting somewhere, right? So
absolutely.
It's very exciting. I'm like I said, learning a new game, and even though I've played Tekken 1 and all of the other ones, Tekken Tag 3, Tekken Tag. Man, I'm just telling you the future. Tekken Tag 1 and Tekken Tag 2 and Tekken 3 is what I've played. Those are my only previous ones. But no, that's pretty much the game. Did you want to get into anything else Tekken related? How was that Sunday Tekken Day at Frosty's?
We will talk about that.
Okay,
that I will definitely jump into. But before we do jump into that, guys, I just want to say we are definitely excited for everything to come for Tekken 8. I think that Tekken 8 is going to set its own precedence, just like how Street Fighter has, and kind of like Mortal Kombat. I definitely think it's going to be a staple to stay, and I don't know if we're going to see anything outside of a Tekken Tag that might come out later down the road using some of these mechanics and characters, but I just don't. This is the end all be all. I feel like for this storyline and also for Tekken as a certain type of game, I think the next one we see won't be for a few years, and it will kind of transition into a whole new cast and a whole new system. But with that being said, we're going to take this quick ad break, and when we get back, we're going to jump into some Frosty Faustings action and kind of just give you guys some more insight on the event itself. So sit tight, and we'll be right back, guys. And welcome back, guys. I hope it wasn't too long of a wait, but it's time. Frosty Faustings. The things that you want to know, the things that you didn't think you would know, the things that you might have missed. There's a lot of things. A lot.
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared to talk about some of them.
Oh man, for me at home, I was just watching like all 5 or 6 streams that were up. I was only mainly watching, I was streaming and watching Marvel 3, which was such a pretty cool event. I mean, a lot of people, by the way, a lot of people go to Frosty's, and it's not a world tour, it's not a this or it's not a that. It's almost up there with like Combo Breaker CEOs and Evos nowadays. Would you agree?
Guilty Gear was an Arc Tour, so was Grand Blue, but yes.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, like for even Punk to show up, and like what else? I saw Riddles was in 7th place. We got the results right here. Let me bring them up. But go on, you explain. You were there.
I'll say this before we get into the results. I will say it is a grandiose event as always. I truly think that they know how to put on an event for anime fighting game players, as well as those who aren't competing for anime games, that are competing for games such as Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, CVS 2, Third Strike, Turbo. There's so much, and it's 24-hour venue. So that's a really big, hard thing. No, it is 24 hours.
It is, okay.
100%. 24 hours.
It's easy.
They seal off the main ballroom, to my knowledge. I don't remember it being open, but usually it's the Lilac Room and the Junior Ballroom. There's so much, and of course I don't even think it's considered the arcade room. It's just connected to another room, which was the Lilac Room or Lilac Junior. So many names. You'll kind of get used to it. It's not that big of a place when you walk through it after the first time or two. But yeah, I mean, getting into the results, we could talk about that, because I feel like that was a big thing for people. I guess what would be, I guess Guilty Gear would have to be the first thing we have to talk about, because as much as I still think the game is a snooze fest, it was an Arc World Tour stop, and I don't know if you got to watch any of it, because I know that's one of your games that you prefer to watch.
It's a little bit. I was only watching mostly Friday, and I was only able to watch Friday because Saturday I was very busy, but I also Royal Rumble Saturday, my bad. However, yeah, I did watch a couple matches. Peppery Splash, I saw him playing Asuka against this Eno player. I don't know if you got to see that match live, but I've never seen the character in use. Now, he lost to that player, but I've never seen a character in such use do so much. Like, there's so much going on with that character that I wasn't even scratching the surface when I was using him. But yeah, Umisho took the title over Tempest. How many times have they played? They've played in grand finals so many times. It's got to be like the 3rd or 4th time, because they've done it at Combo Breaker as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of seen the consistency since some players kind of fell off a little bit because of their character not being as strong, or they just didn't like the way the game is going. I would even say someone we've seen up there often was Razzo. Razzo coming in 13th, playing Leo still. It's surprising, right? Because you're expecting someone who trains with Umisho to just tremendously have an advantage, especially considering Umisho has been the champion for quite some time. So, from Evo, that is. Yeah, I think those two are a fair match. I think that Tempest NYC he plays the right things. He plays the cheap stuff. It was fun watching him play for a bit, but I think what really took the show was the fact that Umisho was playing Soul and Sen instead of it just being gun, happy chaos, gun. Oh. So I like the variety in top 8. It didn't feel too overwhelming of just happy chaos or anything like that, or Elfelt. I definitely think we got to see which you had Slash playing May, you had Leffen playing Happy Chaos, you had Lord Knight playing Bike and getting 5th. Shoutouts to Jersey, whoop whoop, let's go. Yeah. And then we had Apology Man playing Faust, which people said this character has gotten better, and I think it's showing. and Tiger Pop playing Happy Chaos as well, but Rat playing Milia, which is surprising because we thought LK was going to be the Milia player, but LK made that switch a while ago to Baiken, really kind of committing. So I thought it was really interesting to see.
No, I got you. So how was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Shout outs to one of our listeners who was in our Discord, Dr. Doobie. He did sort of share one of the pictures of Leffen with the Evo quote, where it says, "Stick to your main no matter what," or no matter what happens. And I feel like it was like, stick to your main no matter what, even if it's low tier or whatever. And Leffen is the one who has the history of picking Happy Chaos and or Fox and or Falco or anybody who's like very high tier. And it was just like, oh, okay, Leffen, thanks. Getting fourth here in this tournament. I just think it's a little bit of an L.
A little.
Just little reverse psychology is for me. But yeah, so I stick to Super Scroll. Anyway, I was stuck around to watch Marvel. They had a hell of a match. Wedge, shout outs to another Jersey. He's now living in Buffalo, but he's out in Jersey. He got second place. He was in winners finals with Escalante. However, Escalante at 2-2 got his controller malfunctioned and it held down back. And in Marvel, when you see somebody standing still, you know that something's wrong. And yeah, I was freaked. I know them both, so I freaked out for him. That sucks. But then Liberal Terminator was in losers. He lost to Wedge. Actually, Wedge threw them both in the losers, and he lost to him. But then Liberal Terminator is right there. Ran it all the way back up, beat Escalante, beat Wedge, and sealed the deal. But again, most of Chicago natives were there, like Joey D and Frankie G. They were all there. DXP, shout outs to him making it out there from West Coast. I was messaging him and Liberal Terminator at the same time, like, hey guys, do this, you good for that, good jobs with this. Even Joey D I was messaging, just hitting them up throughout the whole time. I love the Marvel community. I can't wait to go down to TNS 9 in Orlando at the start of next month.
I'll definitely say because I got to watch Marvel at the same time as P4A, which was really cool. Ultimax was super dope. I'll just say this: if you've never been to an event and you want to hear the crowd scream, even for a game they're not sitting next to, this is the event to go to. Because the way the ballroom's set up, at least the main ballroom, there is 6 monitors. Generally, when they're playing multiple games, it's 1 or 2 per monitor. And when I tell you, they had the 2 monitors up for Marvel, the 2 monitors up for P4A Ultimax, something would happen to Marvel, people are screaming. Something happens in P4A Ultimax, people are screaming, even if it's from the left side of the room. So the coolest part, I think, at least for watching Marvel, was PZ Boy versus Wedge. I thought that was a wild match. Forcefully having to go to Isenko, it was like, or Shinko. It was so close. All of it was close. I can tell you now, if you are a competitive player and you want to reinvigorate that fire, going to an event like this really gives you this like stomach grinding feel. You're like, I want to be on stage, or I want to just play the best of the best, even if it's not on stage. It's just like in a ballroom, and you just want to be a part of it. That's the best part. But
I think what you're looking for is sort of like the community aspect of it, is having everybody all together. It's really interesting when you're there for a different game and then you see what the other game is dealing with, and everybody getting hyped for another game really brings out sort of like the FOMO. You like fear of missing out on what they're getting excited about. And you're like, yo, what's this excitement? What game are you talking about? Oh, snap. I never knew that you could do that in this game. You know, it's definitely a FOMO type of feel. So I hope Marvel can bring that out at TNS 9.
Now, were you able to watch any other games before I dive into like the games that were really big, that were watched? Even I watched them live.
I watched Guilty Gear Reload a little bit because I had like all the 8 streams going. That was really the only one I can tell you that I've had on. And Skullgirls was happening, but I skipped it.
That's fair.
Why? What's up?
So P4A, super huge match between Mighty Joey and MBM. Mighty Joey playing Teddy, MBM playing Mary. I couldn't tell you if people really wanted Mighty Joey to win or MBM. They seemed like they were close friends / training partners. But when I say MBM was going off from losers, just running it, it was amazing to watch. Close matches he should have lost, he was winning. It just rounded out really nicely. I thought that was a good part of the event. Then followed by one of my favorite ones to watch was actually Street Fighter 6. I didn't think I would watch it, but I watched Street Fighter 6. Obviously, I kind of didn't want to watch the finals because I kind of knew what that was going to be like. And spoiler alert, if you guys don't want to know, don't listen for a second. We've been spoiling everything.
If you're listening, but if you're watching, womp.
No. But this is a big game that people kind of didn't expect to outweigh most of the games because it wasn't a stop. Punk coming in heavy with Cammy, also played Luke and Chun-Li, but his Cammy was just dominating. Dual Kevin.
You get 3-0?
Luke. No. Well, no. He was fighting for his life against Punk at least. But I think the person who took the show out of everyone, and I don't think anybody expected it, was Ramsey. Ramsey played Geef majority of top 8. Played it against Rashid. Played it against he played it against Jury. He played it against Dual Kevin's Rashid. I couldn't tell you if he would have had a better run than third if he could have just passed Dual Kevin, which I guess Dual Kevin had the tech with Rashid, considering JB played him earlier. I thought that was a strong highlight of a non-anime game being that big for an anime event was explosive.
Yeah.
Other than that, Tekken 8 was kind of weird. So I could tell you now, I was on a flight when Tekken 8 was happening. So I didn't get to watch any of it, unfortunately, because they held it all on Sunday. It was a separate entity of its own. But I will tell you, I got to sit with a lot of the community. Before I dive into that, I will say the one thing that you wanted to watch, if you didn't, was Under Night and Birth 2. Oh my God. Landria, I don't even know how to say the name.
Landraka?
I think Landraka, I guess. I know they just call him Lon, but Defiant blew everybody's mind. Didn't expect for that character who was complete trash on release to getting buffed, just winning a tournament. Big Black with Byaku is still showing that the nerfs didn't really matter too much. And Salty, I would say matches before that were interesting, but it got a little weird with Salty versus Big Black because stuff was just kind of happening and people were like, okay, let's just go back to grand finals because this just isn't. It could have went either way, but it just seemed like a stomping for Big Black, just stomping out Salty. But that was a really, really good. I feel like Under Night had a really good showing for a brand new game, and I don't think anybody could take that away from them. Other than that, obviously Accent Core got its love, Central got its love, which was really cool watching some of that. We're gonna get into Mortal Kombat. Gerd did win with using Gears. Almighty Adonis with Reiko second place. Third place was Sparks, and so forth. There was a few more players that played a variety of characters. So that was, I think, the nice thing to see. But yes, Mortal Kombat, I feel, kind of got a little bit of the shaft as it was one of the bigger games to come out, and it got put in the Junior Lilac room, I believe it was. And that was kind of, I think, disturbing for some because it wasn't on main stage, to my knowledge. Yeah. So, yeah, like I said, it's still an anime game event, but people have been incorporating Mortal Kombat as the anime game in a weird way. I don't know how you do that, but
I feel like some of the anime tournaments want to sort of cater to a niche for the sort of community. Because when you talk about NRS, you don't really get any other game other than Injustices and or Mortal Kombat, you know?
Yeah, I definitely think it was kind of hard to watch everything because a lot of the stuff was during Friday when people were in pools, and from BB Tag to Vampire Savior to Third Strike, CVS2, DNF Duel. I did get to obviously watch DNF Duel because I played in it, which I got 13th, sadly.
Sadly,
but hey,
it's better
top
than
16.
14.
Hey,
There
top
you go.
16, right? So
Only 60
technically,
players,
I
what?
was
No, I'm kidding.
two
I'm
away
kidding.
from winning. No, 56. Don't get it twisted, buddy. All right, but stop it. No, it was just it was a fun event. I definitely felt like if you didn't get to experience it firsthand and you watched it, the experience at home was pretty cool. But if you want that full experience, which we're going to dive a little bit further into, you definitely wanted to play. You wanted to be there. So some of the things that I think people wanted to intrigue themselves with was stuff like Tekken 8, right? They had so many PS5s, and they learned from the lesson of, I believe it was
Evo?
Street Fighter 6 when they were burning out the front of the PS5s. They flipped all the PS5s around and made people use the back. Awesome adjustment already for a big tournament. The biggest thing for me was talking with a lot of the Tekken 8 community and getting more insight. A lot of the players love, and I asked this question to them. I said, how do you feel as a new introduction into the Tekken series where it has new mechanics? It kind of diminished some of the old mechanics, such as like Korean backdash, and made sidestepping a lot stronger. How it kind of affected them as competitive players, but also intermediate to high level players. And they said for the entry point for new players, it's such a lovely game. It's easy to jump into. The mechanics can come off as overwhelming, but there's not as many as it looks like. There's probably about two to three new mechanics that are very easily accessible through their easy menu. And I've seen people switching in between the controller system, which you can actually have set as a button to go to like easy rage art, easy this, easy that. I thought that was cool. We're starting to see like that flexibility that we saw with Street Fighter 6 with doing modern controllers, but now it's just implemented where you can do it. So I thought that was really cool to watch people talk about that and bring it up. But the biggest thing is they talked about Reina and how she's the new Mishima and she does not seem overpowered, which I think people were expecting her to be, but she has the same flaws as all the Mishimas. So I think that was cool when they were giving me more insight on that. But they were also talking about how one of the people there was a returning player who's always played Tekken all his life, but not competitively, more like with friends. And he said, oh, I really wanted to get into this one because it felt like really comfortable and really fun for me. But I also saw Law and I was like, oh, that's super cool. And he said he played Law for a long time with his family and his dad and stuff like that. So once he played this one, he said he really felt invigorated to really try. And he loves the feel of the game. It doesn't feel too difficult that he can't get back into it. And he feels like he wants to stay this time. So that was really cool. But I also got in the experience side where I talked to one guy who told me, he said, this is my first real Tekken. And he said he played Tekken 7. Tekken 7 was his first Tekken game competitively. And he said that he played every character for a week or a year long until he found a character that fit him. And then he went through and he said most people wouldn't do that, but he did. And he said, with that knowledge that I have at the base level, I feel comfortable playing Tekken 8. So that's where you see a little bit of the older generation or even the newer generation who put the time in to learn basics of Tekken are applying it to this. And they said it feels very comfortable, but there are new things that they're noticing that they didn't have access to before, that they have easier access now. So they're seeing the adjustments. I think it's good from both sides, but I think the really cool part about the interaction between the new and the old players is creating this new state of the game and how it flows. So that was really nice to see. But outside of that, I played a lot of Uni 2. Uni 2 is super fun. It's highly mechanical, but everything is easily accessible with all the players that are there that you can learn from. But the event itself. First, do you have any questions for me, Gabe? Because I will give you any answer that I can before we dive into some weird stuff.
You looked out. It was warmer than usual.
It was like 45.
It's warm.
45 degrees.
Friday it was 60 over here, so I don't want to hear that.
It was like 54.
There was still there was still snow on the ground. I get it, but like
very
Little
little.
Terminator's from Florida, so he saw snow and he's like, "Oh my gosh, snow!" I'm like, "Whatever, dude." But you said, it was Friday. It was like 60 over here. So last year it was apparently a snowstorm. So that's one of the reasons I was like, it's a little bit of questionable to go to Frosty's. I'm sure that like a plane would be like, "No, I'm not going today," and then I'll be late or something.
Surprisingly, I thought my flight would have been delayed. It was clear skies. We got there. It was beautiful. It was raining there, so it's weird. It didn't rain here. I got there. It was raining. Then I left. It wasn't raining. It was raining here. Kind of funny.
Some clouds, boy.
But yeah, so me getting there day one, it was a cool experience because they had all the vendors there. So this is something that you guys won't be able to see, that they don't show in the hallways or the lobbies. So they had all the vendors. So you have, when you first walk in, you have a bunch of games on the right side that are like music, rhythm games. They had this weird hockey bar game, really cool stuff, right? And then on the left side, you have groups like Controller Chaos, you have Arcade Paradise. So people are getting sticks fixed, people are buying new sticks. Keep in mind, Controller Chaos, really cool. I talked to one of the leads there, Ben. He had sticks for sale that were like airbrush painted and everything. Very, very high quality. Expensive. Like the Frosty stick was $500. It was a Obsidian 2. Yeah. Oh, that stick is dope. That stick is dope. But $500, a little expensive if you are not looking to transition out of that. But they had old school retro game vendors. They had the Frosty's vendor, which you can buy all the Frosty's clothing if you didn't preemptively pay for it. So that was really nice to still have that accessibility. But they had the artist gallery like they normally do. They had so many vendors that came from MagFest that were already people who would come, do that often. I loved all of the experience. It felt like I normally wouldn't buy stuff, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy a charm here. I'm gonna buy that CVS 2 poster here or this. It was really, and they were a lot more interactive than it would normally feel.
I'll be honest. Now, obviously, I didn't go to Frosty's, but when I went to CEO and to Evo, I'd say I liked the variety that I saw at CEO more than I did at Evo. And it's that it's not just people selling posters or even, dare I say, the suggestive content, the eye candy content. It's a lot of different stuff that people are selling nowadays. Like shout outs to, is it Wave-chan who does the little like kitten Marvel versus Capcom and fighting games?
Yes, actually.
Yeah. No, she's awesome. I love her stuff. I have my Ryu and Eno stuff over there. I'm sure you just bought some too. But no, she's doing a whole bunch of if you cannot see,
I got like a little Zoro. For you guys who don't know, it's a cat Zoro holding two swords. And they do have different backs too. So yeah. No, awesome. Super cool stuff. I got Swiftmaster, of course, too. Swift Cat.
Nice. Yeah. And like it's Meowville versus Catcom or something like that. Like, it's just different little like things there. Like you got the other person like selling like the stuffed pillows, the body pillows of like different characters, or whether it's Ed. They're gonna make money off of Ed soon. Yeah. So like, there's a lot of variety now. And this is just in the recent years. But you were saying you were comparing it to MagFest. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, looking at MagFest, I felt like MagFest felt a little overwhelming. This felt a lot more comfortable. I said it before. That felt like more of a convention style when I was at MagFest. And this felt like a newer form for fighting games convention, which was different for me. I almost wanted to say, I don't know if it was just because they had a variety of things. Even some of the vendors were being creative with their clothing. Like they were selling clothing, which I don't feel like vendors were doing as much before. Now they're doing it more. They're selling like pocketbooks and purses and tote bags and all kinds of cool stuff, which it reminds me of MagFest. And some of the people from this event were at MagFest, and I got to connect with them, and it was really cool. I did hand out a bunch of double tap pins, so if you guys got a double tap pin and you're hearing me, Meza, on the show right now, I appreciate you guys. You were really cool and fun to be around. I also got to get put in the Evo trailer, so should see me in that too. Talking about Guilty Gear, I will say this, Gabe. Who's the best character in Guilty Gear all across the board? Not playstyle, just overall.
Best character in Guilty Gear across the board? That's
like
still kind of broad, but Justice.
Justice?
Is he?
I said Slayer.
Oh, I mean, listen, if you want to say swag, then yeah, but Justice to me is like the epitome. And then freaking Dizzy with the double wings and the elaborate different like creatures that comes out of it with every move she does. Don't get me started, dog. I don't know why you even asked.
I couldn't say Dizzy because that's my character that I play in Revs. I mean,
well, Slayer is definitely the guy, but again, Nagoriyuki sort of took his coolness, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I did want to talk about one of the big highlights of the whole event, which I don't think anybody would have noticed, because originally last Frosties they had all indie game developers, so like God of Rock, they had the Smash game that I was playing for a bit. It'll come to me. They had a lot of no, not Rivals. No, they did have Rivals at Aether there. They had a lot of unique, fun games and indie games. Like they had the stick figure cartoon one that's like a Flash game that you can play. I forgot the name of it, but
back in the day it was called Shao Shao. But go on.
Oh my god. But yeah, no, they had all these cool indie games, and then I got there this time, and I'm like, where are the indie games? And they had a Sega collection, and I believe it was for a university, which was really cool. So they were expanding, and it's kind of like looking back at what we were talking about before, is this whole, universities getting more involved, colleges, even maybe high schools down the road might start getting more involved. But Baron Popcorn was the highlight.
Oh yeah, weird.
Now, I don't know if you've had Baron Popcorn.
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
For those that have never had Baron Popcorn, I learned some things this week. I got trapped in a room, and they said, try this popcorn. And I was like, I don't know how comfortable I feel about this, because you just let me use your bathroom, and you're saying that was the only rule, was if you use my bathroom, you got to try the popcorn. All of them. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll give it a shot. And when I tell you this popcorn is sensory overload, I don't think there's any other food I've wanted to be like, why do you do this? I found
it's worth the wait.
Oh, it is. Now here's the thing.
But go on.
I found out that he has, I can't remember what the scientific or terminology is for what he has, so I'm gonna say my version. It's when you have a lack of taste buds from lower spices. Like certain spices just do nothing. They don't taste like anything. So the creator of Baron Popcorn, they created this popcorn with intense flavor. So my favorite is the cinnamon roll. That's the best way I could put it.
It is very good.
When I tell you one little popcorn, people were buying big bags, guys. I'm talking about these bags were as probably big as your leg or your arm, and they were full. These people were buying big bags like that, and when I say one little popcorn burst in your mouth, and you're like, I don't want to eat the rest. But it's so good that you want to, but it's truly a sensory overload. And the cool part about the event was, although they were taking orders on site, they tried to do it with this event, but it was a little too big, and they got backed up because they actually was taking online orders, and he tapped out like Saturday night at like 10 p.m. He was like, I can't do anymore. I got to close it because I still have to do orders for Sunday. Yeah. So sales, to me, in my opinion, were really cool because you got to sit there, eat your popcorn in the venue and watch big events, share it with people. I truly think it's weird for me to say, but popcorn took the whole base of the show, which
they won the show. They won Frosties.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I gotta kind of put this out there for you guys. This is going to be our new question of the week. Is it's kind of crazy. I never thought I would be saying this. Moving forward with fighting games, though, what would you guys prefer? A traditionally styled tournament where it's just fighting games? It's more homegrown. It feels more just for the experience, but not these tons of vendors and anything like that? Or do you prefer that convention style tournament, which I don't know. It's such a mix, because some people feel like it's going esportsy, or it's too much. But I think personally, if you guys feel like there's one or the other that you prefer, we want to hear from you on that.
Yeah.
My Frosty's experience was awesome. That's all I'm gonna say.
In other words, do you prefer concrete or carpet, rug or your stick breaks if it hits the floor, or
Oh dear God,
ballroom or convention hall room? But anyway,
jeez,
I was just putting it in a nutshell.
With that being said, guys, we're going to take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. We got a few more things to talk about. Now that Frosty's is kind of over, we're going to address some other things. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. How am I not tired? I did flying. I did talking. Gabe got to stay home and watch everything and still gets to talk with comfort.
Hey, listen, I watched the Royal Rumble. I'm happy. I was having fun.
Fair. And if you guys wanted to watch something even more interesting, you should have checked out Diaphone's 10 tips to improve at Under Night in Birth 2. I'm not saying that last part. It's just Uni 2, guys. So if you guys haven't, I feel like he put out a really, really good video that teaches. Well, we've always known Diaphone is a teacher before anything. And I think that he kind of sums up everything in this video and how to improve, right? Teaching you certain things that need to come before the other. So you don't start chain shifting before you start learning a B&B or your bread and butter, as they would say. Don't not learn how to stop button mashing beforehand. So there's a lot of little cool tips in there, even though it's 10 tips. It's a really good video. I mean, you got to watch a lot of it. What did you think?
I do like where he was talking about the grid. He's like, don't worry too much about grid. Grid will happen. Grid will be there. But like, it helps you take a small advantage into the match. Like, yes, it helps you have the Vorp, or was it Vorpal? Yeah, chain shift. And you win Vorpal. I'm really bad with the vocabulary terms, but I know that if you hit S twice, you pause what's happening, and you can actually like reversal out of things, or even cancel out of your certain moves. Like I played it this weekend, but in other words, like I feel as though it's a good refresher for me because I haven't played it since Unist, and now I'm playing Uni 2. So the last one was Uniclear, which I didn't play. I skipped that one, but yeah, I'm down to get back into it. I said I bought it. It wasn't the only game that came out last week. It wasn't just Tekken that came out last week. This game also came out, and it was out pretty early too because it had like pre-order access. But no, Diaphone has been hitting all of this up with just throwing out a bunch of content. But like, it's never been content that is like, here, I'm doing this content for me. It's definitely community based. It's also like what potential this characters and this game can do. Here's what you can do to make your game better, or even. People called Kimberly trash. Like one of his most popular videos is people called Kimberly trash, and I won a tournament with her. And it's more like, hey, this is what this character can do. I'm still, like you said, trying to teach you how to play this character. Never really from I'm the best sort of like. It's never from a place of I'm forgetting the word, but you know what I mean, right? Do you?
Yeah,
no? Don't?
No, I probably don't off the top of my head. Not at all, man. I'm gonna be honest. I really don't. There's only certain people I 100% like. I'm like, oh yeah, I knew what you were saying. Like 1000%. Like I got that word from you. I might even got two.
No, so and I do agree with the like step number 3. Learn a B&B. I play Gordell. Most of everything he does ends with the sequence that I'm so familiar with. Most characters do. So it's definitely, if you're into Uni, you're just getting into it, go check out his video. Unless you're already playing the game and already got a B&B, then you don't need one. Then go ahead, don't have to watch it. He's picking one of the hardest characters in the game, in my opinion. He's the newest character. But yeah, that's just one of the quick things I wanted to bring up that I saw. He's not hard.
Not hard. I play him. Not hard.
I
promise he's not hard. No, he's hard, man. Look, I think like you said, he is teaching the basics of more or less playing fighting games, but playing Uni core mechanics, right? So with that being said, if you overwhelm yourself, because this game can get very overwhelming with all the mechanics and all the the current stuff from reverse beating to moves that wall bounce and assault. Yes, it is overwhelming. I've commentated long enough to the point where I'm playing the game now and I'm like, what mechanic do we not have in this game? So yeah, I definitely think that if you I agree, you want to get a good start, this is the place, right? Go to Diaphone's channel, check him out. You don't have to subscribe. You should if you like the videos, but the biggest thing is he has more content for other games that apply to this too. So with this one, I think my favorite thing is him having like 2 segments that are like, don't worry about grid. Because for me, playing this new character, I was trying to resituate my body back into playing Under Night. And this video kind of screamed it to me. Everybody's like, you could have used grid. You could have just used change shift. You could have just done. I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to make sure I could do my B&B that I just learned 4 hours ago for 2 hours. All right. Then you should really take the time to invest into aspects of what he's saying.
Amen. No, agreed. So with that one being said, King of wait, did you want to go into Grand Blue, something you found real quick? King of Grand Blue, go.
Grand Blue, actually, I don't know how official, because it seems like an official post for Zeta having an outfit, and it's on the unofficial, but they've been doing a lot of digging, and they found this outfit for the new season 2 that's supposed to be what Zeta is receiving, as like Gran has received his outfit. Same with Jita. They're supposed to be receiving a battle pass outfit, which will be Crimson Bomber. And I do not know if this is someone's mod, but it does not look like a mod to me. It looks like the legitimate stuff. So I believe they already saw the premium battle pass round 2. And when I say she looks like a glasses bomber chick, she's got the bomber jacket, she's got the skirt. It looks good. I really hope this is not like one of those things where they teased it and they're like, nah, somebody made that, right? Because I've looked at all the comments. There's nothing there that warrants for it not to be real. But at the same time, it's kind of scary when how good people have gotten at editing pictures and modding. So I'm gonna say, personally, we'll wait until we see more official news from the official Grand Blue, but it says Grand Blue _in. I'm gonna say that should be them. It's a resource. It is a form of us being able to see the game, the characters, and new things that are coming. So if you want and you do play Zeta, go check out her new costume when it does drop, if that is the case.
So it looks like the source of this comes from like placeholder models. I don't want to start to comment and act like I'm the expert on it, but looking through the comments, people are still also sort of wondering where it's coming from. But hey, it's good to see something.
True. Sorry. I mean, considering the game just came out with like a bunch of crap already.
Yeah, I know. And Eunice also, by the way, Eunice, real quick, there's like a season pass thing going on. That was, I think, coming out every there's like 2 this year and 2 next year. I don't know. There's a season pass roadmap happening. King of Fighters Advance Strike, real quick, want to touch on that was announced last Thursday. I was at my local and I'm like, well, that just happened. There's apparently a new thing called Advance Strike, and it looks like to me what was Red Parry. It looks like it's Shatter Strike, but with a lot more hits being absorbed. A new offensive tool. Now, I don't know if they're going to be doing anything related to what people are asking more for, is maybe a patch or even a netcode thing. Is that maybe what we're going to be getting with the next update? I think that's the most important thing that a lot of people are still asking for, and it still hasn't been addressed over the last, year and a half, 2 years?
I mean, it's probably going to stay that way for a while until they can figure out what comes next. And they're kind of filling the gap, I feel, until they can say, hey, we can finally fit it in, and it finally works, right? Because they still have to play test it and stuff like that. But Advanced Strike looks like a cool mechanic, but I gotta ask, because we were seeing this with a lot of games, right? I'm gonna put up the poll for you guys this week. You're gonna see it. It's gonna be, should fighting games with many mechanics need more? I think it's a hot topic. I think it's something we kind of see happening right now. Grand Blue, Uni 2, Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, now KoF. Everything keeps getting updated with new mechanics, and I'm curious if you guys think it's a yay or a nay. So that being said, Shatter Strike, something to look forward to? Yes, no?
Yeah.
For you?
It's just weird. It says it's there to fend off throws and physical blows. So basically, like it's you could have already shimmied people before somewhat, even though it activates a button when you throw in that game. But then if you're using that, then it's going to be activating a button for them. And then even this video shows you the way out is to do emergency roll, which is like, it leaves you wide open to it. So is it even good to use unless you're playing somebody who mashes throw? But even if somebody mashes throw, you can also whiff punish them. So with a short hop. So there's already ways around what they're trying to sort of stop with advanced strikes.
It costs half a bar. I mean?
Like, it does cost half a bar. And you get like half of it back if you get a hit.
So it seems like a good mechanic for, which I think is going to be scary for this game, guard crushing. That's all I'm going to say.
Did you see that? Yeah, it's literally guard. It's a guard crush.
Guard crushing is very scary. It's a very scary mechanic. I deal with it in DNF Duel. I don't think it should be in a game like this. I mean, but then in the end, it's been in 13 where you could pressure somebody enough to the point where you do break guard. So I'm kind of curious to see where this advanced strike mechanic goes.
I feel like, I mean, and also you have a character. Well, listen, as you saw in that clip where it showed, what's to do with the claw's name? Yes, that guy, the headphones guy. Anyway, in the clip that we were watching near the end of it, if you go to about, what is it? Let me see. You yourself don't have to go, production guy, but I'm saying to anyone who's wants to follow along, at about 220, there's a big long block string into the combo. Now, if you're on your first character, you only have 3 bars. You can't really do that much, or you'll be losing resources. But on your third character, with 5 bars, maybe that's something you want to do. But you also have to be cognizant of the other player's actual meter, and if they can emergency roll out, again, you'll be screwed because there's a large whiff. That even the video shows that there's a large whiff opportunity, somebody to punish you for that. So with that being said, I think it's an okay sort of mechanic, but again, it's a bit limited, as in the game already does, like you said, have defensive tools. So I don't know, KoF, I think there are other things that it can update a bit more with. So that's just my 2 cents about the game. I haven't played it in a while. I would love to get back into it, but I just haven't had the strive or the drive. Sorry, I just had to throw it in there. Copy that.
Of course, we're gonna have one last topic to talk to you guys about. That was kind of a little bit of a big thing, which was one of the players getting actually, losing their spot and being denied qualifications for Capcom Pro Tour.
Or the Capcom Cup 10, you mean, right? No? Yes?
Yeah.
At the event coming up? Yeah. It's quite unfortunate, this story. Go ahead, Mez. Take it away.
So, more or less, Anik stated on Twitter that basically, due to character restrictions for tweets, sharing my full story using the comments. Not going to go through all of this. You guys can check it out. They qualified for Capcom 10 by winning their World Warriors South Asia. And immediately, they kind of had to go through securing a U.S. visa. Now, we're not experts on visas or anything like that, but I could definitely tell you firsthand, I always thought getting a visa was probably the most important thing first. If you do have the possibility of winning, I do know that at least when I covered stuff for Dungeon Fighter Online, the top 4 players or 5 had to get their visas expedited, and like they had it done in like 10 days just to be able to go overseas.
Yeah,
but this is a little bit different. I think there's a shorter amount of time with things, and I think there's a little bit more of a confusion. From what I'm reading, it feels very confusing, just due to the fact that they have to go through this. Capcom doesn't seem to be helping with the approval, which I would imagine the company would want to do that, but that's like I said, I don't know how much was talked about behind scenes. I don't know who reached out to who and continued, but it did seem like Cianique did not get the extended hand from Capcom. But they did have people kind of tagged in this, from Minardi to Maximilian. They've even tagged Capcom. I know that they said there was a possibility they were trying to tag more relevant players and people who are integrated in the community to try to help them get behind the situation. My thing is, like I said, we're not experts at this, but I do think that someone who would have more understanding of talking about visas and working with the community a lot more in depth would be Sherry Jennings, and would love to get her on the show, as she does have a stronger insight, not just on this situation, but just in general, because she's been in that field. We've conversed with her before about other things, so would love to get her insight so that we can further dive into this kind of topic, because if we start giving misinformation, it's going to get really wonky and really weird. So I just say, kind of read it for yourself, but don't kind of throw out your own ideas of what it should be without talking to somebody who has a little bit more information, maybe.
Well, but I do want to say it is super unfortunate of this happening. However, I mean, the event, I just checked to see, he said he won World Warrior South Asia on November 27th, 2023. And you'd have to know, not you, I'm saying the company might have to know that if you do or don't have something, maybe put that in a sort of terms and conditions. If there is a terms and conditions, then, arms up, man, there was a terms and conditions. If we didn't, we wasn't going to have one, then that would also cover CYA, But I mean, again, I don't know the super logistics, but at the same time, that's very late in order to know that you want to go someplace. Like, what if you got to work, and what if that's the time that you can't take off? Then should I even enter the Capcom Cup tournament? But at the same time, he's ready to try to win $1 million, but he can't. So, that's what I think about anytime somebody's having difficulty to get the Capcom Cup. What if they had a chance to win $1 million?
Yeah, and I'll just say this to kind of sum it up. I feel like I said, I've had my own fair share of experience with this stuff, and they had to have their passports. They had to have their visas so that they could go into China. So I think the company should probably be reaching out to work with these players. Like I said, I don't know if they did or didn't, but it seems like from the way he is stating it that they did not reach out outside of saying this is your time limit. And I kind of get that, but if it's unfeasible for that time limit, then I don't know. That's where we'd have to kind of figure out, like I said, more in depth with whomever we can sit down with, which I would hopefully like to sit down with Sherry so that we can get further insight, not just on this situation, but just on how visas work when it comes to player visas versus, probably a regular visa, right? So there are probably ways to do it more traditionally and ways to do it more for competitive players. So, or work wise, I guess you can say. So that's something we would have to further get more information on. But nonetheless, it is, like you said, sad and unfortunate, but hopefully they can find a way to make it a little bit more, I guess, fix the issue in the future so that people are aware, and maybe give more time and help. I don't know. Like I said, it's still one of those things we have to kind of get more information and understand the thinking behind it, the thinking mind behind these things, because we don't know per se. So with that being said, guys, we are at the end of the show, and it's sad because I was having so much fun, and now we got to go into the following week to talk about something new. As these topics were hot, we just want to say appreciate you guys for sitting down and, of course, conversing with us, throwing us your own tidbits as we get to talk about our stuff. But guys, thank you for listening. Of course, you can find me on all multi-platforms of social media. Just type in Meza FGC. And where can they find you, Gabe?
You can find me, Static Gorilla, on most platforms. No space in between the Static nor Gorilla. This week we'll be playing some. Actually, I don't think Marvel is around this week. And if it is, that'd be awesome. But I'll find out for you. I'll tweet it out. Also, we'll be touching State of Play this Wednesday. We're going to be touching on that, streaming that, because who knows, we might get another Street Fighter trailer, and eventually getting into some Tomb Raider, because Tomb Raider Anniversary, or whatever the new game is, remaster, is coming out. I'm excited for that. So keep a lookout.
And of course, you guys can always post comments, questions, ask us anything. We're generally open to any topics or anything you want to throw our way. We love to get insight, because without you guys, we don't do this show. I mean, we can, but it wouldn't be as fun. So keep throwing your insight towards us. And of course, share the platform with everyone and anyone who you think might be interested. And make sure you go rate and review on all of your favorite, from iTunes to Spotify platforms. And of course, if you guys want to get a little bit more connected with us, you can go to the mashthosebuttons.com/Discord and check out all of our Discords, including, you know, a more personal one with us, where you could kind of get to talk about your favorite fighting games and get more in depth. So if anything, guys, thank you for watching another episode of Double Tap. I'm exhausted and I love it, but it's time to go.
Oh, are you serious?
Oh yeah.
All right, well, talk to you soon, and don't forget to never get thrown over the ropes at the Royal Rumble, buddy. I know, it's so random.